Good morning and welcome to our second Facebook live stream, this time from Strasbourg. It's the plenary session here in Strasbourg, France. And we've had a lot of questions from you guys about the Brexit deal that was signed early hours of Friday morning. And we put up a poll on the Facebook page saying, are you happy with the Brexit deal that was signed by Theresa May and President Juncker? And 95% of you said no. So there were a lot of questions around the Brexit deal. A lot of people have asked that very quickly, would you be able to summarize the main points of the Brexit deal? Because a lot of people don't understand what was in that Brexit deal.
Okay, the Brexit deal is effectively, we are tied in to the European Union for a lot longer than we thought. It's beyond March 2019. We are going to be paying them billions of pounds, supposedly because of financial obligations. We've given ground on the European Court of Justice. We've given ground on European citizens' rights. We've given ground virtually in every single respect. But you need to just quickly look back to the Florence speech that Theresa May gave. She gave a very clear indication what she was prepared to concede on. And there we have it now in terms of the, if you like, the printed document, the fact that it has been a capitulation from the United Kingdom.
So a lot of people are contrasting the deal that was signed on Friday with the speech that she did at Lancaster House saying a global Britain and Brexit means Brexit. And Adrian Davey in the comments has just said, Theresa May is selling us out. Do you think there has been a massive shift from Theresa May's speech back in January and the deal that she has just signed with Brussels?
She's gone a completely 180 degrees. I totally agree with you. She has put, in my opinion, party before country. She needed to keep together the Conservatives. She could not allow any form of dissent. She could not allow the likes of Anna Soubry and the other Remainers to actually scupper any deal or continue to undermine the Tory party in government. So what you're seeing is a combination of a Remain Prime Minister who tried to present herself as being a leader, but she's not. And she's done a deal that, quite frankly, means that Brexit does not, and I mean, and I emphasise, does not mean Brexit at all.
So Derek Sutton asked a question a couple of days ago. What do you make of the mood amongst the cabinet right now? Also, we only have a few Brexiteers in the cabinet, and most of them came out quite supportive over the weekend of Theresa May's deal. Boris Johnson and Michael Gove saying they're quite optimistic. And Theresa May herself came out and said there's a new wave of optimism with the Brexit talks. What do you make of that? Do you think there is a new sense of optimism?
Well, I think the party whips have done an extremely good job. That's my view. I'm slightly surprised, and I listened to Michael Gove on Radio 4 the following morning. I was really quite taken aback. Here he was suddenly saying everything's milk and honey, or everything's growing good in the garden. And yet I looked at the information, I heard the information, I'm sitting there and I'm going, oh my goodness, what have we done? You know, this is not Brexit at all.
Paul Ronald says, can you let us know what the atmosphere is like amongst the other EU member states towards the idea of a European superstate?
I think they're absolutely delighted. I mean, certainly any French MEP who's part of the European People's Party, any French citizen who's at the moment thinks that Macron's doing a much, much better job than he was a few months ago, and anyone who's a member of the Socialist Democratic Party, SDP in Germany, they're going to be cock-a-hoop over this as well. You know, this is all about us, the United Kingdom, thinking we were going to get out of the federal European Union state. And in fact, all it's going to do is keep on moving forward. It's going to accelerate, if anything. And the United Kingdom is still tied into it.
Colin Cherry on the comment says, Brussels hates everything we stand for, but loves our money. And this is one of the key parts of the deal that was signed. We're still not entirely sure how much money we'll be paying in a divorce bill. There's different figures going around. How much do you think we should be paying to Brussels?
I don't think we ought to be paying anything at all. And I've had always this big argument with Nick Clegg, who used to say you've got to pay your bar bill. I would liken this to being a member of a gym or a club, or even, you know, going to the bar. You pay for what you've consumed, what you're using. You don't keep on paying for something way down the line, something in the future that you haven't yet taken advantage of. Now, I understand the aspect and the need to pay for the United Kingdom's contributions up until the end of March 2019. But if Brexit is to mean Brexit, then the payments stop then. It's very, very simple. You don't keep on paying into something that you don't use in any other sphere or environment. So why on earth are we going to keep on paying?
Do you think that the nature of the transition period has now changed because of the Brexit deal that we've signed in terms of the ECJ, in terms of money, in terms of citizens' rights?
Well, I certainly didn't expect that the extension of the Article 50 negotiations, which is effectively what the transition deal covers, would, one, be as long as 2 years and possibly will then be keep on being extended, and nor did I anticipate that the transition deal would allow still oversight from the ECJ and, quite frankly, control still coming from the Commission and from the Council. I think those three aspects are very, very disappointing for the United Kingdom indeed.
Ben Wilson asks an interesting question. He says, "Hi Diane, as more details emerge, is the European Parliament seeing this Brexit deal as a victory or an opening to punish us more on trade when we go on to the next stage of the negotiations?"
Well, I think that I'll be able to give you a much clearer answer when I've gone into the debate tomorrow morning. And if you can, please log on and watch the web stream from the European Parliament. Actually see the announcement, and I'm still trying to get it verified, whether we've got Juncker coming here, Michel Barnier coming here, Timmermans, whoever it will be, who will give the update. Try and watch it if you can. But my view is going to be there is certainly going to be a degree of gloating, certainly a degree of they think they've taken the upper hand, they've got exactly what they wanted, and they forced the United Kingdom into backing down.
Susan Pierce asks a question. She says, "Hi Dan, if we walk away because we don't get a trade deal, what happens to the 3 million EU citizens and their rights? Will they still be entitled to live here? Because obviously the deal that we have signed on Friday is dependent on the fact that we get a trade deal and we actually leave the European Union. But what would happen," Susan asks, "if we were to leave right now with no deal?"
Well, first of all, let's put into context, if you don't mind, but thank you for your question. Theresa May has now apparently written personally to all 3 million EU citizens living in the United Kingdom to say, please don't go, we want you to stay. And there was never, ever any discussion or any issue about it expelling those people, telling them they had to go back to their member states, anything like that at all. And many of them do actually contribute to the United Kingdom, so I want them to stay. What I'm most disappointed in is at the moment there is nothing in terms of a reciprocal type of offer, a reciprocal type of communication, or any form of assurance to United Kingdom citizens living in France, Germany, Portugal, wherever they are in terms of the European continent. And this again is what is so disappointing. The European Union has got what they wanted, guaranteeing the rights, if you like, of the 3 million of their people living in the UK. The United Kingdom seems suddenly to have just walked away from looking after United Kingdom citizens in the European member states.
Phil Birch says, "Do you think there's now likely to be a leadership challenge within the Conservative Party following Theresa May's sellout?"
No, I don't think so, Phil. Nice to hear from you, and thanks for joining me. You're somebody I know personally. I mean, I was somewhat heartened that there was the potential for a leadership challenge last Friday. That appears to have evaporated. I really don't think that the Conservative Party will dare tear itself to bits over the next few weeks or few months. I think this now is one where they're all going to be told, keep your heads down, don't moan, just support the Prime Minister and make sure the challenge from the Labour Party starts to go away. I mean, when you read that the Labour Party is 8 points ahead in terms of a poll and would form the next government, they are a party that wants to completely reverse Brexit. They want to give a second referendum and they want to ensure that we stay. That, for me, is a much, much worse option than trying to put pressure on Theresa May and her government as I can as a Brexiteer.
During the Brexit negotiations, we've heard a lot of sound bites like Brexit means Brexit, and recently we've got nothing is agreed until everything is agreed. And now we have a deep and special relationship. And Glenn says, that doesn't sound like out to me. What do you make of that?
I totally agree. And, you know, thank you for reminding me of the one glimmer of hope there is that we now have the United Kingdom using the European Union phrase, which is nothing is agreed until all is agreed. That is almost the only hope that I've got left. If the European Union doesn't abide by what they've agreed to, that possibly the deal might still fall apart or actually need a bit more renegotiation. That's my only hope at the moment.
Do you think that the emerging nature of this gentleman's agreement, if you like, that we've had with the Brexit deal, because obviously nothing is legally binding, is going to put any strain on the relationships between Britain and Ireland? Because obviously over the weekend, the Taoiseach said, you know, that it's legally binding, and David Davis said, no, it's not, we just shook hands. Do you think this is going to affect any of the issues with the Northern Irish border? There's a lot of questions that people have been asking.
Okay, I mean, do you mind if I just put into context? The Irish Republic has got its own internal political problems. There was almost the point 10 days ago where their government was going to collapse. There was going to be the need for fresh elections. Now, you have a head of government over there at the moment who is more intent and more focused on keeping himself as head of state, more focused on keeping his party in power. And all the time, he can actually keep this anti-aspect up and try to derail the programme, the deal that Theresa May has done. It helps him. And this is what I always look at. You know, I look at what's the bigger picture and what's the national political picture and why are individuals taking the particular stance that they are. My view at the moment is there was never, ever going to be a hard border. It was only the European Union that wanted one and would have to put one in place. Even our own Prime Minister, and I don't always give her any form of credit, but she stated categorically the United Kingdom did not want and would not have a hard border.
Okay, Lynn McNichol says, does Theresa May have any understanding of the deep betrayal and anger that Leavers feel?
I think she probably does. Does she care? I don't think she does.
John Carter says, hi Dan, I'm very concerned about the proposed regulatory alignment after we leave the EU. Brussels has been meddling in our affairs for 40 years, and I'm concerned that this new aspect of the Brexit negotiations means that Brussels will still be in control.
Yes, that is the real downside of this. And it won't just be Brussels. It will be the Council. It will be the ECJ out of Luxembourg. It will be this, you know, the whole circus, if you like. The worst aspects are that every single decision that the Parliament takes, that the Council takes, that the Commission takes, right up until the end of the transition period, whenever that happens to end, the United Kingdom will have to adopt that and abide by that. Then we get into the process afterwards, as you rightly identified, with regulatory alignment. It means we cannot do anything unless it actually just dovetails with whatever the EU is going forward with.
Steve Chin says, please could you tell us concisely the key points of the deal? And I think this might be good just for all those new people that have joined us, and maybe a good way to finish the live stream is what is exactly the key points of the Brexit deal we've signed, and what do you think about it? Okay,
can I give you what I think are the key points? I may not give you all of them, I'm going to give you what I think the key points are. The key points are the European Court of Justice maintains control as the supreme legal body. European citizens' rights are guaranteed for a period, certainly including up until the end of the transition period and potentially beyond. There is a divorce bill. It certainly is likely to go beyond at least 1 decade, maybe 2 decades after we've left the European Union. That I'm going to finish at that, because fundamentally, if you take those 3 points, it means that Brexit will not happen, because ultimately what that translates to is the European Court of Justice still controls our legal system. We still have to abide by all of the regulations, directives, rules, laws, whatever it is that comes out of the Commission, the Council and the Parliament. And fundamentally, we've got to keep on paying for it. When it comes down to those 3 issues, we have not taken back control, and control remains with the European Union.
Perfect. We've had plenty other comments coming through. There's Anne online, Leslie, Vaughan, all asking similar questions. But I think that's a great way to finish up the live stream there. Make sure you like Diane's Facebook page. Over the next couple of days, we have a lot of videos, a lot of speeches that Diane will be doing, so you can share those with your friends. And I guess it'll be the new year that we'll do another live stream. Absolutely. Well, look, all I can say, everybody, happy Christmas. Thanks for joining me. Please join us again in the new year. But don't give up hope. You know, I'm still out there doing the best I can, trying to get on media, doing my Facebook issues and live streams and such with Ethan's help here. If you can coordinate local meetings, if you want me to come along and speak to groups, book a big venue. I'll help you with leaflets, certainly in the South East. And let's just
keep up the pressure and keep on lobbying your MP, regardless of whether they are a Leaver or Remainer, and remind them that they are letting down the democratic hope of the United Kingdom voters.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.